Join me and learn how to work the popcorn stitch. It's a really brilliant way of adding texture to your work. Let's get started. Okay, let's have a look at the popcorn stitch. Now the popcorn stitch is one of a few different ways to create really fantastic texture in your crochet, and there are lots of sort of bobbles. There's a bobble stitch and a puff stitch, and this is the popcorn stitch. It's done a slightly different way to the others. You can see it's quite sort of proud the way it sits on the work, and there are so many gorgeous sweaters and cushions and things that use the popcorn. It's also a really great way if you use it on the edge of a blanket, if you're using it just as sort of the edging right at the side as you go around the corners. It looks great. So let's have a look at how to do it. It is a very simple stitch to work. It's worked on the wrong side of the work. There's no stitch repeat. You just put a bobble in wherever you want one. And what I've done here is I'm working in US double crochets, UK trebles, but you can actually work a popcorn in half trebles or half double crochets as well. So I'm going to turn around onto the back of the stitch, and just to show you, so that's the front, and you can see the stitch at the back has got a sort of little indentation. Come on, just put your finger in there. Like that. So the popcorns themselves are worked on the wrong side. So let's begin. I'm working here in Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Chunky. I'm using a 6mm hook because I wanted it to be quite big stitches so that you could see what I'm doing. But if you want to, you can use a smaller hook to make it more compact. So I'm going to chain 2 at the beginning of my row and then just work along using UK treble, US double crochets, and when you get to the point as you're going along of where you want to put your popcorn stitch, so we're going to put it in here, this is how you do it. So we work 5 double crochet or UK treble stitches into one stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to work another 4 stitches into the same stitch. So let's have a look. This builds the shape of the popcorn. You might find that in different weight yarns there are more or less stitches that go into a popcorn. Some people might do 3, or if it's a very fine yarn, more than that. So we've got 5 stitches sitting in the same stitch here. Now to make it into a popcorn, what we do is pull that loop up a little bit and take your hook out. Then go back to the first of the 5 and put your hook into the stitch from the front, like that. Then reach over, grab the loop from your working stitch, and then pull the working stitch through the first one, like that. And that closes up the little popcorn. You can see it's like a little hole in there. And then we do a chain 1, which fixes that popcorn stitch, and then just work along the row as usual. So I'm going to put another double crochet US single treble UK in there. And if I turn the work around, you can see there is the popcorn stitch sitting in the work. So from the front, it's really nice and proud. From the back, you can see you've got a little sort of cavity there. So let's do another one. Yarn over. I'm just going to do another couple of treble stitches, UK treble, US double crochet along the back. And as I say, if you find that your work is a bit baggy like this, just go down a hook size. So here we are. We're going to put another little popcorn in here. So yarn over into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That creates our treble crochet UK, double crochet US, and we're going to put another 4 into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now just let that loop out a little bit, and here we have the 5 stitches. So to make this into a popcorn, we put the hook from the front through that first of the 5 stitches, reach over and grab the loop of the working stitch. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller, and then pull it through the first stitch. There we go. That secures the little popcorn, and we make a little chain 1 just to keep it in place. And then we just carry on working along. Now, let me show you, if I turn the work now, how it feels to work into the top of a popcorn stitch when you're working along the right side of the work. So I'll just turn over here. So here we've got our little popcorns. I'm going to just pretend this is the beginning of my row. Put a couple of chains. Now I'm going to work along back over the top of the popcorn. So put the stitch there, and then I'm going to put a stitch into the one that's next door to the popcorn. And then, if you see on the top here, you can either work it into either of those places. I'm going to work it into here, into that stitch. And although it's a bit gappy, when you put the whole thing together and you've got other rows sitting in other places, you won't notice that at all. And as I said, this is quite gappy because I've used a big hook. If you're using a smaller hook, you know, with sort of a denser tension and fabric, you won't notice these little extra gaps at all. So here we go. Let's work into the top of this one. This is the chain 1 that you use to secure the popcorn, and that is the stitch. So we yarn over into that second little hole, although you can do it into either, and carry on working. Popcorn stitches can be set next to each other. They can be set alternately like this. You'll find lots of patterns that have different ways that they actually use the stitches. And so that is how we work the popcorn stitch. And that's the popcorn stitch. Don't forget to subscribe for lots more crochet techniques. Happy crochet!